I have Toothless with his toothy goofy face. So cute. Hi everyone, welcome back. For the month of November, I've got these two parcels to open up. There are a few figures in here which I'm super looking forward to. So without further ado, let's get started. First up, I have a parcel from Nin Game. Recently, I enjoy getting from them as they allow me to order goods from different release months to be shipped together. This helps me save on shipping. This big parcel was shipped by Surface for about 47 USD. Inside, the first item from this parcel, I have the Muichirou Nendoroid from Demon Slayer. Since there was no bonus item, I got this with Nin Game instead of goodsmile. He was about 5,500 yen, which is about 38 USD. Fairly decent for a Nendoroid nowadays. I have most of the Demon Slayer Nendos, but I think I stopped at Muichirou. There are just too many. However, I am quite tempted to get Sanemi and Genya after watching the Hashira training arc. Maybe I should, just to get all the Hashiras. Anyway, inside the box, it is in a lovely teal green color. Also, here is his set of instructions in English as well as Japanese. This Nendoroid comes in two blister packages. Inside the first smaller package, there are two arm parts as well as a mist or water effect piece. For the second blister package, we have Muichirou himself, two alternative face plates, an alternative leg piece, two more arm parts, a sword with and without its sheath, and more mist effects. Here are all the components for this Nendoroid, so let's move on to assembly. For assembly, I initially wanted to display him in this blank stare pose because that's kind of how I feel about life. But after seeing the instructions, I realized that he has a pose swinging his sword with the cool effects. So I decided to go with this instead. But that blank stare look, really tempting. Anyway, let me put him in this fighting pose before I change my mind. Here are all the components which I think I'll need. First up, I'll have to remove all the plastic sheets between the Nendo joints, including this alternative leg piece which I'm going to need. After removing the dummy pegs in this alternative leg piece, I'll need to put in his little feet. And if you didn't notice, I put in his leg piece in the wrong direction. But don't worry, I didn't notice it too. Next up, to remove his default arms and slot in his alternative arms, which allows Muichirou to hold his sword. With that, the general fighting pose is done. Next is to slot in his default hand in the arm missing a hand. Here, his pants is still in the wrong direction. Lost. Moving on to his head, I'll be swapping out his blank face look with this fighting face, which has the Demon Slayer mark. Since this is a new Nendoroid, replacing this faceplate was fairly smooth. Now Muichirou looks like he's ready for battle. Before I put his head back on, I want to slot his pack in first. Because Muichirou has long hair, this pack has a different shape which goes under the hair. And here, I finally noticed the pants was in the wrong direction. Even though I fixed it, his feet is still in the wrong direction. Now for the weapon. This is the sword without the sheath. It comes with two mist effect pieces, which is simply slot into the sword like so. One slots all the way through the sword, and the other just at the tip. With that done, I just have to slot this into Muichirou's hand. Lastly, after putting the mist effect piece in the correct position, Muichirou is done. Here is the Muichirou Nendoroid from Demon Slayer fully assembled. And goodsmile has captured him pretty well in Nendo form. Because of how good this is, I'm really more tempted now to get Sanemi and Genya. Anyway, for Muichirou, I don't really want to get a scale figure of him, so I'm quite happy with just this Nendo. I'm really loving this fighting pose for Muichirou, and I'm glad I decided to go with it. In this photo, I also fixed his feet. Hehe. I also quite like how his hair is done. There's not much shading, but the teal green color is very pretty. Next in the parcel, I got the Toothless Nendoroid from How to Train Your Dragon. Toothless is just too adorable to resist. Although there isn't much alternative parts for this Nendo, he is posable in so many different poses because he has so many articulated joints, like his wings, tail, and ears. He also comes with enough accessories to complement his many different poses. Sadly, I feel he is kinda expensive, slightly above 7,000 yen. I suppose that's for the licensing cost. Anyway, opening up Toothless box, inside, it is in a green color, which kinda matches his eyes. Here is Toothless set of instructions, also in English, as well as Japanese. This Nendoroid also comes with 2 blister packages. Inside this smaller blister package, it comes with his alternative wing and leg parts, as well as the base parts. As for the bigger main blister package, we have Toothless himself, 2 alternative face plates, 2 extra leg parts, a fish, and a plasma blast effect piece. Here are all the components Toothless comes with, and let's move on to assembly. For assembly, I want to use one of Toothless' simple pose, and I'll just be changing out his faceplate. Here are all the components which we need, and first is to remove the many plastic sheet this Nendoroid has. Like, no kidding, there are so many plastic sheets. That is because this Nendo has so many articulated joints. And while doing this, I have to be careful not to destroy anything. Don't forget the little sheet on his head as well. Now that all the plastic sheets are out, I have to reassemble him. It was a good decision to keep this pose simple. Loss. For his neck piece, it was kinda confusing to attach. I'm not sure if it's in correctly, but it seems to be working properly. Before I attach his head, I want to change out the faceplate. I want to caution that his faceplate is quite hard to remove, so gotta be careful with this one. With that, I have Toothless with his toothy goofy face. So cute. Now to attach his head. This is the hardest part, I must say. His pad keeps shifting and it's just so difficult to put his head on. I swear I'm never gonna change the face ever. Lastly is to attach his legs and ears. And he is done. With that, I have the Toothless Nendoroid from How to Train Your Dragon fully assembled. This rendition of Toothless is just so adorable. I love that he has so many articulated parts, and it makes it so fun to pose him. Goodsmile has also captured a lot of details on him, like the gears that allows Hiccup to sit on him, as well as his tail gadget thingy. If they made a light furry Nendoroid, I'm highly likely going to get that. I have my Toothless in his toothy face, and I love how his teeth is sculpted. So adorable his smile. Also, I love playing with his articulated joints, especially the wings. Look at it flap. It's just so cute. Okay, back to the parcel. I have the 1/8 scale figure of Dawn and Piplup from Pokemon by Kotobukiya. This is a re-release figure, and I'm so glad Kotobukiya did this, since she was so expensive in the aftermarket. I hope the Pokemon Nendoroids also gets re-released. Goodsmile, please. Anyway, this figure is of Dawn in her OG outfit, and she comes with Piplup, just like in the anime. This is the image of Dawn which I remember the most, since I watched the anime and didn't play the Diamond and Pearl game. Opening up the box, inside, there are very cute Pokemon patterns printed. This figure only has 1 blister package and she has no instructions, not that she needs it. For this figure, we first have Piplup looking so cute. As for the main figure, we have Dawn herself already set up on her base. And that's all the component we have for this figure. Let's move on to assembly. For assembly, Dawn is already on her base. So I just have to put Piplup on the base as well. And that's it. With that, I have the 1/8 scale figure of Dawn by Kotobukiya fully assembled. And just like all the other Pokemon figures, I think this one turned out really well. I just love the color scheme of all the Pokemon figures. Although the shading is simple, I really love how bright the colors of Pokemon figures are. And when you put them all together, they look exceptionally perfect. As for this Dawn and Piplup, I think they've nailed the character design really well. This particular Dawn looks like she's more from the anime, and I recognize her a lot more since I watched the anime. Zooming into the figure, I love how Dawn's face is done. Her eye decals are accurate to the character design, and her mouth is sculpted really well. On the back, her hair is also very nicely sculpted, capturing the movement of her pose. Although there is not much shading on her hair, I think it is acceptable for Pokemon figures. After all, the art style is like this. Moving down the figure, the best part has to be Piplup. Like, look at him, he's playing with bubbles. He is in a pop of blue color, which works very well with Dawn's pink color theme. The bubbles are also very pretty in a semi-transparent plastic with a somewhat pearlescent color. All in all, I'm really happy to have this figure of Dawn, especially with Piplup. He looks so cute, especially with his bubble attack. These pearlescent bubbles look so pretty. You know, I probably bought this figure because of Piplup. From this generation, this is my favorite Pokemon. I would choose this water Pokemon as my starter. So if you're wondering whether you should get this Dawn or the other Dawn, personally, I would go for this Dawn because of Piplup. And if you know the trend of Pokemon figures, I would highly recommend you get one now while the price is still reasonable. Of course, who knows, Kotobukiya may do a re-release in future as well. From the Parcel, this is the 1/6 scale figure of the Teddy Bear Hunter by hotvenus. This figure is NSFW, so it will be quite difficult to assemble her. Therefore, I am allocating her to another video. Besides, this figure looks amazing from the reviews I've seen online, so I think she deserves her own video. Plus, I've got a bonus item, so that makes her a little bit special as well. So if you're interested in seeing the unboxing of this figure, stay tuned to my videos in future. Let's move on to the next one. Before I go into the second big parcel, this little one arrived while I was editing, so I might as well throw this in. This parcel is from Tenso, the proxy I like to use for things I buy myself in Japan. First in the parcel, I have a very heavily packaged item. Inside, I have an acrylic block of lore from One Piece. I believe this was the very first acrylic block of lore released by Jump Shop. And when I was first looking for this, it was pretty expensive in the aftermarket. But one fine day, Surugaya had a sale, which brought this down closer to its original price, which was about 6,000 yen. So I got him. This acrylic block is super thick and of high quality. On the front, there is a print of a manga style lore, and on the back, there are some manga panel prints. It will go really well on my lore shrine. The second and last item in this small parcel is the KJ8 series Blu-ray set, Volume 4 with all the bonus items. Yay! Before I go into the bonuses, here is the Volume 4 Blu-ray with Mina on the cover. I wonder if they will do Hoshina on the cover in the next season. I'm also predicting that they will put Narumi after Hoshina, if they do have Season 2 Blu-rays. Inside, just like the previous Blu-rays, there is a background scene on the disc cover. I also got this set of stickers with Volume 4, as well as this booklet with info about the series. It also has some character design artworks, which I really like. Together with this Blu-ray, I also got these photo cards of Hoshina and KJ8. These cards are only given for orders made during the campaign period, and I'm glad I didn't miss this one out. As for the bonuses, these are part of the bulk order campaign, which comes from getting all the 4 Blu-ray volumes from Animate. First, I got this tote bag, with cool blue prints on it. On the back, it is just a simple black color. The inside is also really simple, in black color as well. So yeah, this is just a simple tote bag. Next, I also got these two can badges of Hoshina and Reno in kimono outfits. But the best thing about these bonuses is the acrylic stand of Hoshina and Reno in this kimono. Firstly, here is Reno, and he is in a brown color themed kimono outfit. Reno really looks like a cinema roll, super cute. He is in a standing pose with a traditional umbrella, and the print of this stand is quite high quality. His base has his name on it. I really quite like this acrylic stand of him. Lastly is Hoshina in his squatting pose. He is in a purple themed color kimono, and he has a winking face, super cute. His base also has his name on it. Although it's stupidly expensive, I'm really happy to have these Hoshina and Reno acrylic stands. Okay, back to the haul. Here is the final big parcel of this haul. This is from Ami, which I rarely order from nowadays. First up in this parcel, I picked up a few of these space-saving base from Vertex. I don't have many Vertex figures, but I have a lot of figures with round bases. And I predicted that this generic thing can work for any round base. It is so cleverly designed. Inside, there is a set of instructions indicating that you can stack this thing for taller bases. This also acts like a riser. This also comes with clear stickers to stack the bases up, as well as this cushion sticker thingy in black and white color to stick to the bottom of the base. From my recent collection tour, I have some figures using this and it's really effective. I bought 10 pieces, so I hope that's enough. Back to the parcel, I have more Hoshina acrylic stands. The first one is this sitting Chibi Hoshina, which I was curious about. Apparently, he is like a diorama stand, but just of Hoshina sitting. His legs, body and weapon is split into 3 layers to create a 3D-like effect. Once each layer is slotted into the base, the effect actually looks kinda interesting. It's my first time seeing something like this, and I quite like it. The next acrylic stand is of a normal Hoshina sitting. He is just casually reading a book, and he looks so cute. Even though I already have so many, I'm really happy to have this one as well. Next in the parcel, I picked up the KJ8 Metal Postcards collection, which has 5 blind packs with 2 postcards each inside. I got this because I was wondering what metal postcards were, and turns out they are just postcards with a metallic print. No, it's not metal unfortunately, it's just a postcard. But the metallic shine effect is quite pretty. For about 12 USD, I get 10 unique postcards, so I suppose it's not that bad. Since I got the box, I am guaranteed all the different designs. And inside there's Hoshina, so worth it. The last KJ8 merch I got in this parcel is the Omanju Nigi mascots, a box of 6 squishy plush. Once again, I got the full box to ensure that I secure Hoshina. I plan to open up to Hoshina and give away or sell the rest of the blind boxes. So hopefully my luck is good. This is the first blind box I'm going with, and let's see who I get. Opening this box, I got a black bag. No, the plush is inside. Opening this up, I got... It's a blue hair. It's Hoshina! Yes, I got Hoshina, and in one single pull. This has got to be the luckiest pull for the first time in my life, and he's so squishy. Now I don't have to open the rest. Yay! The last item in this parcel and haul, I have one of my highly anticipated figures of the year. This is the 1/7 scale figure of Shiro Shiromuku version by Furyu. I got this for 29,700 yen, which is about 210 USD. I was initially on the fence because Furyu's figures are kinda pricey, But the more I looked at Shiro, the more I couldn't resist. So here she is. How could I resist Shiro? Her box has a giant window on the front to admire her. And on the other sides, there are photos of the figure which are pretty well taken. It was the photos that made me get her. At the top of the box, there is another mini window to have a peek at the figure. Now, opening Shiro's box up, inside, there is the signature No Game No Life checkered pattern, and it's in a very pretty blue and pink color. Here is the set of instructions for Shiro in English, as well as in Japanese. For this figure, Shiro only has one blister package. Inside, here is the base, a plastic support rod, and Shiro herself. She has so many plastic sheets, especially on her hair. Not that I'm complaining. Removing these plastic sheets is quite therapeutic and satisfying. And without all that plastic, Shiro looks amazing at first glance. Together with Shiro, we also have an alternative hand part holding a chest piece. Here are all the components for this figure. Now for assembly. For assembly, I'll first set Shiro on the base. Here is Shiro's giant round base. It has two metal pegs and a hole for the plastic support. This plastic support is for one of Shiro's feet, so it is essential. This slots into the hole on the base. On one of Shiro's sandals, there are two holes. Also, admire how colorful the kimono is below. With Shiro's kimono in the way, it's a little bit hard to see where to slot this figure in. But after some adjustments, I managed to get Shiro on her base properly. Thankfully, she feels quite stable on the base. The lifted up feet sits very snugly on the support rod. And her other sandal slots into the peg perfectly. Lastly, I want to swap out the hand part with the alternative one that is holding the chest piece. So out with the default hand, and in goes the alternative one. And she is done. With that, I have the 1/7 scale figure of Shiro Shiromuku version by Furyu fully assembled. And I am so happy to have picked this up. Initially, I was on the fence because this was a Shiromuku figure, and Furyu tends to overprice this. But now that I see her in real life, I am so glad to have her. She is super cute, super adorable, and her kimono is so beautifully done. Zooming into the figure, starting from the top. I really love her face. I think Furyu has accurately captured Shiro. Her fringe is very well sculpted to frame her face, so her forehead doesn't look too big. Her eye decals are also so big and detailed, reflecting how cute Shiro is. The main feature of Shiro is of course her voluminous and colorful hair. And this gradient paintwork is very well done. I really love how each strand is sculpted, with the tips curling up, making the hair flare open very dramatically. Moving down the figure, I wasn't too sure about this plain white kimono initially, but seeing this in real life, it's very pretty. There are patterns sculpted onto the white fabric, making it look very detailed. It also has a shiny tint, giving it an interesting texture. I also really love the colorful fabric on the inner side of the kimono. It reflects Shiro's colorful design very well. Plus, on the white fabric, there are some dark blue shading, further adding to the details. All in all, this figure of Shiro is quite well done. I don't really have a figure of Shiro in a kimono, so this is my first. And I'm really happy that Furyu did a good job. I suppose they have already done so many other kimono figures, so they couldn't have screwed this up. Thankfully. Would I recommend this figure of Shiro? Well, there are actually a lot of other figures of her out there, and some of which are way better than this. However, if you're collecting a whole bunch of Shiro figures like me, I think this is a really nice piece to have in your collection. She's definitely one of the better Shiros out there, especially with the way Furyu has captured her face and her hair. Plus the rainbow color kimono, it totally matches her. So with that, I'm really happy to add this Shiro with the rest of my Shiros. And that's all for today's video. This is my last haul for the year as I'll be in Japan until next year. But look forward to another Japan haul series when I'm back. Anyway, thanks for staying to the end if you are still here. If you like what you saw, do leave a like and subscribe with notifications to stay tuned to more videos. Until then, I'll see you next time. Bye bye!